First thing I like to do when I get a new bike is cut the straps off here with my side cutters and pull the staples out so I don't scratch myself or my new bike. Here we have the Tengu, your first bike, run bike. Let's build it up. We'll start by installing the seat so I can put it in my fancy stand. Next, we'll remove all the packaging. And we'll put all this aside. We can recycle it later. And make sure to package these up to protect the paint and the frame during shipping. So once you get all this packaging off, just take a quick minute there to inspect the bike for any damage that may have occurred. We're gonna undo the face bolts on the stem here and mount the bar. It's a 6mm Allen wrench. We'll remove this fully. Making sure we've got the brake line on the outside front of the bike and the brake lever on the right side. We'll snug these up. Not tighten them yet, we just want to get them snug so we can get the handlebar into the proper position before we tighten them down. We're going to pay close attention that we have equal distance gap on the top of the faceplate to the stem as we do at the bottom of the faceplate to the stem, as well that we've centered the bar. And then in terms of the angle of the bar, just have it running in the same angle as the forks to start with. And then we'll tighten these down. 5 Newton meters, which means we snug them up but not make a face tight. As well, make sure you're alternating the bolts, bringing them up to tension evenly to distribute the pressure. Then we're going to align the handlebar and the fork, making sure that we've got our 2 stem bolts here loose. And what I like to do is look down the front of the bar to the front of the fork dropouts, and that's a great way to balance it and make sure it's straight. And then again, alternating, tightening the 2 pinch bolts on the stem. Snug one, then the next, and back and forth until they're tight to 5 newtons. Let's put the front wheel on. You want to loosen off the axle nuts, and you'll notice you've got some washers here with little hook tabs. And those, once we get the axle into the fork dropouts, those tabs fit into the corresponding holes on the dropouts of the fork. Making sure the axles bottom out in the dropouts, and using our 15mm wrench, we'll just tighten these axle nuts down. We've got the bike assembled. That was that easy. But what we do want to do is just a final bolt check. We want to check the bolts holding the brake pads on, the rear axle nuts, and then we'll drop the bike down, pressure the tires, and set up the seat angle. One thing to mention, the brake comes set up and adjusted. There might be some minor tunes that we need to do, some minor adjustments just to finish it off. So using the 5mm Allen wrench, I'm just going to make sure the brake pads are snug. I'm also looking to make sure that the brake pads are only contacting the metal of the rim on the braking surface and not the rubber of the tire. And if you spin it, the wheel, and it's dragging, which this one is, then we need to use the spring tension adjustment screws here to equalize the spring tension on the brake arms. You can do that either by increasing the brake tension or increasing the tension on one or decreasing on the opposite. Okay. Check to make sure these axles are tight. There it is. Let's drop it down. Next, we're going to set up the seat angle. Using a 6mm Allen wrench, we can access the mount bolt for the pivotal system here. It's a little tricky sometimes to find, but you'll know when it's in. Loosen that off. We've got the angle, and set that flat. Tighten down. So we'll drop that down for our little guy. 10 to 15 PSI is probably plenty in this. There we have it, the Tengu. Everything that matters on here is alloy: bar, stem, rims, hubs, the frame, post. This is the smallest padded pivotal seat on the market today, anywhere. We've got inflatable rubber tires for grip, sealed cartridge bearing in the hub and headset, the lowest durometer grip you're going to find for a child's bike, so super grippy, especially for wet weather, because the kids are going to ride through it all, and a real brake, a metal V-brake that works, so you can stop when they need to. Okay, Tengu. Shreddy.